So then why are you a Christian Scientist?
I think that is probably easily answered by it works.
Hello and welcome to interview number 21 of Whatever. And tonight we have another special guest, Beverly Warner. Bev, how are you tonight?
I am very well, Paul. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's absolutely my pleasure. So, Bev, where are you from?
So originally I'm from upstate New York near Syracuse. I literally spent the majority of my life there. I just moved down to North Carolina. I live 115 steps, but I'm not counting to the beach in the morning.
Nice.
So I'm usually running on the beach in the morning and that sort of thing.
All right. So, Bev, what do you do?
Sort of reinventing myself as a real estate investor, and I'm trying to assist single family homes and that sort of thing for people who are in some financial difficulties.
Very noble.
And then, oh well, thank you, thank you. I've always liked serving people and helping. That's something I've done all of my life.
Sure.
And another thing I've done all of my life. So professionally, for over 4 decades, I have been a dog behavior and trainer and consultant and that sort of thing. So
Wow, okay.
that's my fun job that I love so much.
Awesome.
So
Wonderful.
thank you.
Bev, did you grow up in a Sunday school or did you come to science later in life?
Both.
Okay.
So my dad was a Christian Scientist and my mom was not.
Okay.
So it was one of those things when my mom decided to go to church, then I had to go because she didn't have anyone to, take me.
Watch you, right?
And yes, exactly. So I went a few times with my dad, but I never went regularly. However, I did see some healings that my dad had one time from a burned hand on the top of a stove, the spiral
I do.
burners, where he placed his hand on it while it was blistering hot. And it was an amazing healing to me in a matter of just a few minutes. So that always stuck in my mind. To the point of smelling burning flesh, and I could see the ring on his hand. And he literally just turned around and prayed, and I just knew to be quiet. And I did a little bit of praying. I don't remember what it was because I was about 12 years old when it happened. But he turned around and I asked him if he was okay. And he was like, "Oh yeah, it's fine." And he put up his hands like this. And, I was just mesmerized by that. So that was one thing that always stuck in my mind.
Sure.
And, but I didn't go back. And then I got in the teenage years and it wasn't cool to go to hot Sunday school and
Sure.
all that. And then I got back into it when, my son was in high school. And I found a teacher, went to class instruction, and have been very active since. And now I am the superintendent of our Sunday school here in New Bern. Well, it's in New Bern. I'm in Emerald Isle, but it's in New Bern, North Carolina. So
awesome. That's great. So, Bev, how did you make Christian Science your own then?
I started realizing after being in veterinary medicine for about 15 years that there was just a lot of stuff that went unhealed and chronic problems that could never be really resolved. And through my training, I changed over from a punishment reward training to a motivational reward training. And within that group were lots and lots of people who had started delving into alternatives and nutritional support for the body, etc. So they weren't vaccinating all the time, and they were feeding real food and supplements and that sort of thing. So I started delving into that for quite a while. and really got very good at it. And at that same time, I was looking for more spiritually as well. And I started going to church with my dad a little bit, and then my dad passed, and then I just kept going. And then like I said, I found a teacher, and that was over a little bit of a period, but now it's a go-to thing,
Good. That's great. So then why are you a Christian Scientist?
I think that is probably easily answered by it works.
Okay.
Um,
Simple.
I came, this is just one example, I guess. The whole transformation into the dog thing, but then I was out in California helping my friend. That was a challenge, to say the least. And I got to the point where financially she couldn't afford to pay me any more than I was making, but I couldn't afford to live in California and keep my home here at the same time.
Right.
So through a lot of prayer and a lot of just really embracing abundance and allow and expectancy, and all of the attributes that we are so commonly connected with. And I moved back here with no income whatsoever.
Right.
And didn't really have an awful lot of backup income, because my backup income I ended up using to take care of this place here, because I wasn't making the money out there that I had hoped and thought was going to happen.
I see.
So I have been blessed in so many ways by so many different situations. It's just amazing. And those blessings have allowed me to get to this point where, as I said a little bit ago, that I possibly have my first property under contract as of Monday morning.
Great.
So that's going to be very helpful. And also along the way, I got back to North Carolina. Nobody really knew I was back, because nobody really knew too much about me before I left.
Right.
But all of a sudden, people started finding out about me, and there was a veterinarian that started recommending me and that sort of thing. So it's really built up in friends that I've gotten to know, or people that I've worked with their dogs, they've recommended to their friends. So anyway, it's truly been a collection of blessings that have brought me to where I am right now.
Yes. So as you said in the beginning, you're a Christian Scientist because it works.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
So I know
now,
I'm going to get through this.
Yes, of course. So now we come to my favorite part of the interview. You're going to tell us what is your whatever. I suspect we already know, but what inspires you, helps you grow as a scientist?
Early on, I thought it was all about training dogs.
Right.
And I realized that it really isn't about training. Yes, I do train dogs, very definitely. I take dogs in and train them, but it's really more about training people and creating a more harmonious relationship between man and beast, if you will. And the motivational reward training that I do allows that reward and satisfaction and all that to both ends of the leash, if you will. And that there's such an amazing connection with people and dogs. And so I try to incorporate my prayer work prior to going to help somebody with their dog. And I really feel that contributes, to what I'm doing and the success of what's happening with that particular relationship between their dog and them.
So it seems like that you're going into this, your work with dogs and their owners, almost like from the perspective of one mind, and there being harmony expressed in that relationship. Would that be accurate?
Yes, it would be. Absolutely. Absolutely. And especially in situations where I've had dogs that have had some aggression problems.
Right.
And there are definitely some human steps that they've had to take in order to um, work through that particular problem and keep everyone safe and that sort of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely for me to go into that appointment with those people, I have a much clearer view of that dog and of those people and of making them a team under God, under that
Yeah,
one mind, that
that's
divine
great.
mind.
That's awesome. So, any healings associated with
Mm.
yeah, you got anything you can share where you've witnessed God in action with between dog and owner?
I do have one that I would love to share with you.
Please do.
Um, was a border collie named Casey, Kaycee.
Okay.
And she was one of the ones on death row. And this girl took her, and she was in the military, and had to leave shortly after she got this dog. But once again, that these dogs seem to know, she was never aggressive towards this girl whatsoever. But once she made this relationship with her, she was aggressive to everybody, and
Wow.
scary, very scary, to be very honest with you. And so she called two different trainers. The first trainer told her to have the dog euthanized. The second trainer also told her to have the dog euthanized, but she wasn't ready to make a decision to do something like that. So she asked, and she had to go on this military deployment for a
Right.
period of time. So she asked the second trainer if she knew of anybody that could handle her while she was away so she could make a decision. Well, the second trainer used to work for me.
Okay.
So she told her about me, and she said, if there's anybody around, Bev will be able to, deal with her.
Right.
So I knew she was coming, and I set up an appointment with her just to get to know the dog a little bit to determine whether I could actually take her or not, because I obviously need to keep my staff safe
Right.
and, all that. So we made an appointment, and this woman lived almost 2 hours away from where I live. So she was very willing to drive and do that. So we set it up, and I did my thing, and I did my prayer ahead of time, and then I set this dog up for the most possible success. And within probably about 3 to 4 minutes, her owner was standing there with her mouth like practically dragging on the floor, because the dog was now in my lap kissing me. And every other person that she had met since she made this relationship with this dog, the dog was at the end of the leash, lunging, barking, growling, snapping in
Right.
the air, all this kind of stuff. And her mom was just like, like, what? How did this happen? So anyway, she brought the dog back, and she stayed with me, and I did the training with her for quite a while. And then I worked with the owner, and we kept working together. And then anytime she kind of ran into a problem, we worked together. Anyway, Casey is now probably the better part of 10 years old, and
Okay.
she's never bitten anyone since. And they have this great relationship, and they're just they're two peas in a pod, and they do very well. Casey was now able to start playing with other dogs. She was able to go to daycare. There was all different kinds of things that she was able to do after the work that we did. and
That's
and
great.
that each time I just kind of tried to pull my divine mind, the one mind governing everyone, and along with a lot of other,
Sure.
depending on the situation. But
Human footsteps, but you're starting from the standpoint of there is only one mind,
yes,
love is all there is, harmony reigns, etc. That's
yes,
great, Bev. It's a great example that we're Christian scientists. We all come in different walks and shapes and sizes, and we're all doing different things, but we are all able to lean on that divine mind, that love,
yeah,
and it helps us grow, and it helps us bring harmony and healing to everyone in our orbit of thought. So this has been a great interview.
Well,
Thank you so much. Yep. And who knows, if I'm ever in North Carolina, we'll have to hook up and get together.
I would love that. I would love that. You'll have to walk my 115 steps to the beach, but I'm not counting.
Okay, sounds good. You have a great night.
Thank you. You too. I really appreciate this, Paul.
My pleasure.